Welcome to the Cash Flow Couple Podcast, where we go behind the scenes in our short-term rental business and reveal tips, tricks, secrets, successes, and failures. Whether you have 0 units or 100 units, this podcast is for you. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Wendy Williams, along with my husband, John Williams. Together, we operate Queen City Suites, a short-term rental business here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So September's been kind of slow for us.
Yes, September is a slower month.
Yes, it's notoriously slow, but we did have something to do. We had the continuous recording go out at one of the units.
Yeah, it was our newest one. So it was the new one we set up. And it's possible that, I don't want to go in like technical details, but it's possible it's just something I wasn't doing right. Just so you know. So now I'm on record. I have possibly made a mistake. However, we did go and we got it corrected, and
we caught it on tape.
Yes. Is there tape? You just dated yourself.
John admits he did something wrong.
Wendy admits she knows what tape is. But yeah, so that's how the week started, right? We had to go take care of that. And then we decided, hey, let's do some quality control. And we had to take some inventory, I think, too.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. We had to take some inventory over there. So we decided to, at another one of the units that was kind of close to the newest one. So, and the cleaners had just cleaned it since somebody had just checked out, but nobody was scheduled to check in for a while. So we thought,
so we knew nobody was staying there.
Right. So we thought, well, we'll just go check it out, because the cleaners in the past at this particular unit have not always done a good job for us. It's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, it is.
So we thought, well, we should go check it out just to see. And it was terrible.
It really was. It was a bad job.
Awful. There bar soap. There were bars of soap still on the bathtub, on the edge of the bathtub.
Yes.
And big black hairs in the shower area. Ugh. And no towels hung up. And did you see the beds?
Oh, yeah, the beds were terrible. It was like they took all the pillows and just like piled them in the middle.
Even the decorative pillows, it was like all one big pile on the bed.
Yes. So you kind of skipped ahead. You were like, this is what happened, which is all true. But when we arrived, we didn't really arrive to do quality control. It was kind of a secondary mission there, because we were really taking some inventory there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we had to take a couple of things, like some Tide Pod containers, or like a Tide Pod container, and
right.
Some
so it
trash
was
bags.
It was supposed to be a very quick stop. We were just going to stop by and drop that stuff off, and kind of like, just go through the place and see if everything looked like it was cool, and it was like it was supposed to be. And I remember Wendy was very busy doing the inventory things in the closet, and I went around and started doing my checks, looking in the microwave. Did it look clean? Just things I look for. Look in the dishwasher. Are the dishes not in there? They're not supposed to be. Looking at the floors. Are they clean? I went upstairs. This is our townhouse unit. So it's 2 stories. So I went upstairs. Are the beds made correctly? What do the bathrooms look like? And so I'm doing all this stuff while Wendy's, busy doing inventory in the closet. And my first thought is, Wendy is going to go nuts when she sees this. I'm already upset from what I'm seeing. And so I come back downstairs and I say, Wendy, just wait. Just wait till you see what is upstairs. And it's everything she said. The beds were crazy. The bathrooms were just basically dirty. It was almost like, did they actually clean?
Yeah, you know what? I wonder if they even came to clean.
But I know they did. At least they said they did, because we got a confirmation from them saying, hey, we were there, right? And they sent us an invoice, which we paid.
I'm pretty sure we actually paid for that as well, for that cleaning in air quotes.
So they definitely came. They just did not do it all.
Did you check on the cameras to see if they actually did come?
I cannot say that I did that, no.
We should do that. We should actually look and see, because you can tell when they came and how long they stayed.
Yeah, but it's that bad that you're like, I'm not sure they actually even showed up.
Yes, and that's the problem.
But I know they did, because there were some things done.
That's true. The beds,
like the beds were made up.
But
they weren't made correctly.
No, the duvet cover was all put on all wrong. I mean, half of it was falling off.
Yes, and the thing is, as an operator, can you imagine what it would have been like had a guest showed up?
Oh my gosh. And
found it that way?
Can you imagine? Oh, I would be horrified.
Yes, and from a business perspective, they're going to contact you and say, "Hey, this is awful. This is not up to standard. It's not clean," from their perspective, which means that I'm either going to have to send a cleaning crew back out there, or I'm probably going to have to refund them some money, at least the cleaning fee. And not only that, what is my review going to look like after they leave? Which everybody will see for all time. So it's not just that one guest that stays. It screws up that reservation, but it also affects your future bookings. Because everybody will look at that and say, well, that person said it wasn't that clean. And it wasn't like it was little stuff.
No, it was not.
It wasn't like a little speck on the carpet or something. Because people are fallible. Nobody's perfect. People make mistakes. But this was just egregious.
Yes.
Egregious is the word.
That is a good word for it, because it was obviously not done to any kind of standard at all. I mean, like, not even the minimum. It didn't even reach the minimum standard of cleanliness here. I'm talking about.
For sure. And the thing about it is that had we not gone to check on it, then we wouldn't have known. And it's not the first time, as you said, it's not the first time this has happened with this cleaning company, especially at this particular unit.
I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, was the fact that this was not the first time that this has happened at this particular unit for us. That this was like the third time this has happened.
Yes, and the problem that really creates is now I can't trust that person or that company is going to do a good job every time.
Nope.
Which means I either have to check behind them every single time and possibly have them come back, which costs me time and money, or I have to get rid of them. And basically we decided we need to get rid of this particular cleaning company because they're not up to standard. I believe in giving people chances. And like I said, people make mistakes.
3 chances is plenty.
It's 3 or 4 now. And it's not over a long period of time either. 3 or 4 over 10 years might be a thing, but this is 3 or 4 over the last 5 cleanings. It's like almost every time.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, but it's a decision we had to make. And so that it's a hard thing to do, to tell somebody.
It was hard.
Sorry, we're not using you anymore.
It was hard, but
because they were very promising.
Yes.
Because they did have some good things about them, like they show up every time. And they did have some procedures in place to say, hey, we came.
That's true. And
you got that kind of notification saying they came, it's done.
That's true.
Right? But at the same time, the quality wasn't there. And so we had to terminate based on quality. So that was kind of our thing that we did this week that's hard to do. You know, it sounds like when you're sitting back and you're listening to that and you're saying, yeah, man, if that happened to me, I would totally get rid of them. But when it's up to you to actually do it and like, you know, either craft the email or like dial those numbers and call them and say, hey, we don't require your services anymore. That's confrontation. A lot of people don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't like it either.
I would rather it had just gone smoothly and that didn't have to happen. But at the same time, we have to protect our brand and we have to protect our business. And so it needed to be done. And so we did it. So that's what we did this week. That was very uncomfortable, but it's for the best. It's for the best because now we can go find another company or use another one of our existing cleaners.
Right. So we have 2 other cleaners that we can use, which we have moved. One of our other cleaners has now taken over this location.
Yeah. And that's a really important tip to have is don't rely on just one company.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
You know, always have backups to backups to backups
Uh-huh.
for any system that you have. But cleaning specifically, just because even if they're not doing a bad job, just say they couldn't come that day for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, accidents happen. Like one of our cleaners got into an accident, like a car accident.
That's right. On the way to our unit, so they couldn't come, and then we had to have a backup to say,
right,
what are we going to do that day?
I mean, accidents happen, so it's nothing that you have any kind of control over.
Right. Everybody's human. I mean, it's just going to happen. Even if you're using a company that has multiple cleaners, you never want a single point of failure.
That is really good advice.
So the silver lining of it is that, or I guess the good side of it is that we actually could say, bye, Felicia. You know what I mean?
Right.
And have somebody else immediately just step into that role, even if it's temporary, even if you're just looking for another one. The business wasn't affected by it. So you want to be in a position where you're not held captive by a single point of failure. And I think that's one that a lot of people do because it's very easy to find one person that's doing your cleanings. And even if they're really good at it, something's going to happen at some point that you're going to need another person. In our case, it was just, hey, we had to get rid of you like forever. And what are we going to do? Do we scramble to, find a new cleaner, or do we put one of our existing in place? And it's much less stressful to just have that backup there to say, hey, can you start picking these up?
Yeah. Well, the backup already knows our system. They already know the linen system. They already know the supply system. They already know how we like things done.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that we had to think about, right? We've taken a long time. This backup cleaner has been with us for a really long time. I think since the beginning. So we've had that time to train them, and so they already know everything.
Yeah, and they've actually cleaned this property before.
I think, yes, maybe once or twice.
So it's good to have some overlap like that, and it's good to have somebody that, even if they hadn't been at that property before, they still have an advantage for all those reasons you said, because we standardize. So even if it's a different property, our linen system's the same, our process is the same. Things are just in a different location.
Yeah, that's really all it is. I mean, the beds are still the same. The sheets are still the same. The towels are still the same. There's still a supply closet.
And the codes are the same.
And the codes are the same, yes.
So you can send that person over there, and even though they may have, in this case, they have been there before, but it's been a while. But even say they haven't, it's going to still feel very familiar to them. So we talk about that a lot as far as like being consistent and branding as far as your guests go. but it also applies to your team members as well. If you're consistent and you have a system and that's your brand and this is the way we do things, not only on the guest side, but on the, team member side.
Yeah. Internally.
Then that has made this breakup, or whatever you want to call it, less painful for us. Even, there was pain in having to do it, but as far as operationally wise, it was very easy. It was
almost seamless.
Yeah. So that part of it was kind of neat that, we were able to do that. So I don't know. I mean, I think the message is you got to, one, maybe put yourself in a position where you can do that easily by having backups and having a consistent system. And then the second part of it is, don't be afraid to do it. Make sure that you have standards and that you hold everybody to them. So that's kind of my takeaway from it.
Well, it affects our business and we can't have that.
Sure. Yeah. For the reasons we mentioned already.
So I was I was really disappointed.
I was really disappointed too, because this particular company, they understand the business. They have a lot of things going for them. They understand the business. They have other clients like us. We've, sat down and met with them personally. We kind of built those relationships and that kind of thing. But I think on their end, maybe they just weren't able to perform. Maybe they weren't able to retain the talent that they needed and the kind of consistency that they needed for their business. And I'm sympathetic to that as a business owner. But again, you can't jump in the quicksand with someone else. I can't let somebody else's problems be mine.
Exactly.
And even though I'm empathetic and even though we, are willing to work with people and work through those kind of things, because like you said, I mean, we have another cleaner that's been with us from the beginning, and that hasn't always been perfect either.
No, it hasn't.
But it's always improved, and it's gotten better and better and better over time. And even then, there are slip ups. But I'm not running everybody has to be perfect organization. But I am running hey, everybody has to pull their weight organization, and we're all on the same team. And in this case, they kind of dropped the ball consistently.
Well, in the first couple of times that we noticed that the cleaning was not done up to our standards, we took pictures of all the things that we found, and we sent that email saying, hey, these are the issues that we had with this cleaning, and they were immediately addressed. So they sent someone out to redo those cleanings. And not only that, they had quality control within their cleaning organization where somebody went behind them every single time after they did their cleaning. And not only that, the cleaner who worked for the company had to send their manager or whoever it is pictures of what the unit looked like when they got done.
Yes, but then the very next cleaning, it happened again.
That's why I was really shocked to see it that way. Because I knew that this company had put all of these procedures in place, and I was surprised that it looked like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I'm sympathetic to that because I see that as a business owner, and I want to say I see them trying to make it happen, but they're not making it happen. I mean, ultimately, it's just not happening. And it's starting to affect my business. So even though I'm sympathetic to that process and I say I see them trying, and that's where I get, the idea that, hey, I want to give you another chance. I want to, work with you and make this happen. But at the same time, if what you're doing as a business owner isn't working for your business and it's starting to affect mine, then I have to, and you should respect that as well, I have to do something else. And that's what happened in this case. So, I mean, you're almost making the case that we shouldn't have fired them.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just pointing out that even though they tried to have all these systems and procedures in place, that it still wasn't working out for us.
Right. And I don't know, I'm just speculating because I'm interested in that sort of thing. Like, why didn't that work for them? Was it that they did not change staff when they should have? Is it because they're having staffing problems? Is it because, they've taken on too many jobs? Or I don't know.
It could be any of those things. I don't know what it is.
But at the end of the day, I can't be the person that jumps in the quicksand and tries to solve their problem, because I'm paying them for a service and I expect what I've paid for, just like my customers and guests expect what they've paid for. So if I'm charging them a cleaning fee, if I'm charging my guests a cleaning fee, which is basically I'm passing along the fee that my cleaners gave to me, and they're not receiving a quality product, then they're not going to go to the cleaners and complain to them. They're going to complain to me. So I have to be able to rely on the people that I hire, and it's a partnership. Your cleaners and you are a partnership, and at some point, if one of the partners isn't doing the job that they need to be doing, then you have to sever that relationship. And that's what we had to do this week, which I still kind of feel bad about because of all the reasons you said. I mean, we met with them. They were trying to do things, but ultimately they fell short, and more than once. And so you kind of have to take the emotion out of it as a business owner in a way, don't you? Yeah,
definitely.
Even if it does affect you emotionally, you kind of have to set that aside and say, what objectively, decision-wise, do I need to make? Because my ultimate loyalty isn't to my vendors, it's to my clients. Mm-hmm. Because those are the people that write the checks to me. My vendors, I'm writing checks to them. And so that's just the way it is. So
it's a damn good thing that we have quality control.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's something else you definitely should be doing. You need to be checking behind no matter what kind of work you do. And that's something that we learned when we were flipping houses.
Trust but verify.
Dealing with contractors.
Yep.
It's a great thing to have a great contractor. It's a great thing to have somebody that you feel like is going to do a good job and that you can trust. But it's that whole trust but verify thing, isn't it?
Trust but verify. Yep.
And so our system always was, here's the stuff that needs to get done this week. Because contractors usually want to get paid on Fridays.
Yep. We always write checks
unless you're
on Fridays.
Doing some kind of loan thing where there's a draw and all that kind of. But if you're paying them directly, typically they want to be paid on Fridays. That's just the way it works.
Well, that's how they pay their guys.
That's how they pay their guys usually. So what we would do is Mondays we would have, here's the stuff that needs to get done this week. And then Thursday or Friday, we would actually go on site and check it and say, was the stuff done that was supposed to be? And the things that actually got completed, we would pay for.
That's when we learned how to line item things out as well.
You have to have it lined item out. Otherwise, you don't know what was supposed to be done.
Right.
Week.
We learned that the hard way, didn't we?
But it wasn't that we didn't trust them. We wouldn't hire people we didn't trust, but we then went and verified. And it's very much like that in this business as well. We hired somebody to clean, and then we have to kind of go behind them every once in a while and say, hey, did we get what we paid for? Because the worst thing you can happen is you don't hear about it internally. You hear about it from one of your clients.
Right.
That, oh, this was horrible. And we've actually had that feedback before where somebody told us, you should fire your cleaners. And it wasn't this cleaner. It was a different one. But it was because they dropped the ball on a particular listing. But that particular one, it wasn't like they did it every time. It was a one-time thing. We gave them the feedback. They corrected themselves, and they've been awesome ever since. But this, in contrast to this other cleaner, we gave them the kind of same feedback, and they acknowledged it and tried to do some things, like you said, but then dropped the ball again and again and again. So we had to let them go. So that it's a hard thing, but that you got to do it.
Yep. And quality control is also important.
So that's kind of all I had to say. This is kind of short and sweet, but that's what went on this week. And
what are we doing next week?
You got anything else to say about that?
I don't think so. We don't really have anything going on. I mean, there's...
Oh, this coming week?
This coming week. We don't... We have... Oh, we got one direct booking from our website that was not solicited.
Yeah, so we've done direct bookings before.
That was exciting.
But usually it's either a repeat guest or it's somebody that we marketed for, solicited, and we knew who they were, and we kind of created the booking for them and all that kind of thing. But this one just came out of the blue today.
Yes.
And it was like somebody found our website and booked it. And I don't know how they found us.
I don't know. I would really love to know.
It's curious because we do some marketing. Like, for example, in our units, we leave business cards. So anybody that stays there, we always say, hey, however you found us, Airbnb, VRBO, whatever it was, here's our business card. Next time you come to town, book with us direct, and you'll save some money, which they will, because they won't have to pay those platform fees, right? We've talked about that before. Airbnb is charging the guest 12% probably and charging us another 3%. So there's 15% because you went through Airbnb. If you come through us direct, it's a cheaper price. So we always say, hey, go to queencitysuites.com and view our properties, and then, book with us direct, and you'll save some money, which is very true. And I wonder if somebody stayed with us, because I did look this up. The person that booked it isn't somebody that stayed with us before. So I wonder if somebody that stayed with us took that business card home and gave it to one of their relatives or maybe one of their neighbors or friends or something like that, and said, hey, this was a great place we stayed in, go book there.
That's awesome. I really like that story. I'm going with that
But
one.
I don't know yet because I haven't asked them how they found us.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to know.
Yes.
But so maybe we'll tell that on the next podcast.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for today. You got anything else you want to throw out there?
Nope. I hope you got through the full moon.
Okay. All right. Full moon. All right. Until next time. Thanks for listening to another exciting episode of the Cash Flow Couple. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, virtually anywhere you might find a podcast, whatever podcast player you're listening on now. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. It helps other people find us. It helps us move up in the rankings. If you did not know, we also have a YouTube channel. It's The Cash Flow Couple. All of our episodes go there. But as well, we also put other video content that is not part of the podcast. You can find us on Facebook at The Cash Flow Couple. We go live there quite a bit. We share tips, tricks, things that are behind the scenes in our business that you may not see on the podcast, but it's definitely more of a real-time, day-to-day type experience. So definitely follow us on Facebook. If you want to ask us questions, or if you have concerns or something you want to hear on the podcast, hit us up by email, info@thecashflowcouple.com. We love to hear from our audience. We really care about you guys. We want to see you succeed, and we want to hear what you have to say. So hit us up, info@thecashflowcouple.com. So until next time, happy hosting, happy investing, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Cash Flow Couple.